Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham of Good for the Game. It's our final edition of the handicap for the year. Going to take a little break for a few weeks, probably be back in mid-January. And I've got two gentlemen on the panel with me. Let's start at the top right of my screen as I'm looking for it. It's the Oracle Rugby Cricket, whatever you want to call him. And it looks like his handle this week is that Laugh Out Loud? Thank you, Bulls. How are you, Gavin?
Yeah, very good, thank you. I think I'm going to go, and I've done this for a few weeks now. Just thanking the people that have made me money. I actually lost on the weekend, but if it wasn't for the Bulls, I would have lost more. That first half was quite interesting, but yeah, they played as I expected. A friend of mine spoke to me lunchtime Sunday, and he said handicaps at 21. I said, don't worry, this is going to be 30 plus. I know some people got 13 and 16 and 18, and he was really concerned. Like 21 just didn't sound right to him, and I said, bro, just get on. This is going to be a lot. And I'll be honest with you, I sat there at halftime or close to halftime when it was 7-5 for a while.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, what's going on here? And of course, it didn't take long before the floodgates opened. And wait till you hear my prediction or my punt on the Sharks Bulls game, because that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one to see. And I'm going to bring Admiral in, but just to sort of come in on that game, Gavin, what you were saying, yeah. Just before halftime, you started thinking, is this game ever going to open up? I was on Northampton over 39.5, I think it was. And similar experience in the game before where the Harlequins started quite slowly, but once they clicked into gear, they absolutely ran away with things. Well, let's welcome back the Admiral. I know he hasn't been on for a while because he's been writing exams. First of all, Admiral, how did the exams go? And secondly, how's the punting going?
Yeah, the exam actually finished today, so I'm heading out to a pub after this because it's been a long couple of weeks. Grand. But yeah, no, the exams are grand; they're over. It's the main thing. The punting grand. I had sort of the opposite to Oracle. I was on the Bulls, and it came to game time. I was like, it was one of those you almost counted as a loss before the game kicks off. But yeah, the rest of the European rugby was pretty good. I quite liked it. Because I think the bookies sort of struggle with the crossing over the leagues or whatever it is. The European group stages tend to be good to me. Looking forward to this weekend. This is the Interpros in Ireland for us, so the Irish derbies. Normally some good rugby.
We'll just Nemo Kern coming in. He's obviously one of the guys on your, I think it's a free telegram, hey, Admiral. And he's saying, well done, he's well up with you, but he wants to send some money that you can get the haircut you're craving. So, good one there. Yes, Oracle?
You need to put a tip button up there, Brent, because, listen, I've tipped people before, happily. And there might be people out there that like the advice, they want some money, they want to chuck a coin at us. Let them chuck a coin. Put a tip button up. And folks like that can tip the Admiral.
Fair enough. I can actually tell you, I don't put adverts in that on this one, and I've never really bothered too much, but there's literally a tax thing that's actually stopping me doing it at the moment. But we'll make that a resolution for next year, Gav. We'll put a tip button up. And just welcoming Werner to the show as well. And appreciate joining us as well. Evening to you guys. Right. Well, we are obviously going to talk URC. Admiral, I just want to ask you, there's obviously a bit of other rugby on this weekend. At the end of the show, you just let me know if there's anything else that catches your eye, and I'll bring the betting up and we can discuss that. But we'll focus on the URC. And we got two games on Friday night. We've got Cardiff first up. I think the games are probably at the same time. But for us first up, Cardiff -7.5. Against the Scarlet. Cardiff flying pretty high at the moment in the URC. They've had a strong start to the season. Scarlet's not so much. And we've got a points line here of 46.5. Let me start with you, Admiral.
Yeah, so Welsh Derby here. They both got pretty full teams out. I think Cardiff missing like a couple around the pack. But yeah, the Scarlet started this year and they looked like an amateur rugby team. Like, I don't know if you remember, they got nilled against the Stormers, battered by Munster. They had a couple They had a couple of shocking results. They were awful at the start of the year, but they sort of picked it up the last 3 games. Like they beat they beat a decent Glasgow team. They beat them 23-0. They ran the Bears close at home, and then last week they were in Bordeaux and they lost, obviously. But to be honest, I actually thought they did all right for themselves. Like they lost by 29 or something. I mean, they're never.
Admiral, my biggest bet of the weekend in the end, it wasn't meant to be my biggest bet, but was Bordeaux over 8.5 tries. And I thought they would absolutely run through that Scarlets team. Yeah. And as you say, Scarlets put up a pretty noble fight there. I mean, they were well beaten if you look at the final scoreline, but I agree with your comments fully. They actually performed above expectations, and a bit of a nail in the coffin for me as I come into the end of the year.
Like as you say, listen, the names in that team are never gonna challenge Bordeaux at home. But at 7 this week, I think they're gonna stay within the 7 this week. Like I was having a look at the head-to-heads, historical head-to-heads I do look at for derbies. I do think they matter. And funny enough, the last 4 games in this fixture in Cardiff, the Scarlets have won these last 4 games away from home, and they have a pretty good record against Cardiff in general. It's 10 games since Cardiff covered a -7 against the Scarlets. And with Scarlets sort of picking up form in the last 3 games. Cardiff have been good, but they're not sort of blowing teams away. I think I like the Scarlets here. Not a big bet because Cardiff are a better team for me. But I like the Scarlets to get a losing bonus point.
Just quickly, the points line 46.5. I see it looks clear from what I can see, but probably cold and potentially a bit of moisture around as well. You think that 46.5 is about right for the derby?
I'm gonna, for a lot of these games, I'm gonna say I like unders. This one, if you made me choose, I'd pick unders. But I think there's a lot of there's a lot of opportunities this week to go unders, and this isn't a particularly good one, I think.
Right. Well, Fareed is with you there on the Scarlets on the plus. And now the only question is, what will the Oracle do on this game? Will the Oracle do anything on this game? Let's find out. Are you muted, Oracle? I think. Yeah.
My apologies. I was muted. I've followed the Scarlets for the last few weeks. Not every game, but I've watched them and I've taken note. I am interested. I agree with the Admiral here. I think this +7, and I like the 7. I mean, we've discussed. I'm going to do the Zuma 6-7, or Alpha, whatever it's called. I think 7.5 plus is a good number. They can win this game. Interestingly, the points total of, did you say 46?
46, yeah.
That would have only not arrived in once out of the last 5 fixtures between these 2 teams. So, I'm not a points punter, but I think you need to take the Admiral's advice here and leave this one alone. I'm a plus punter. I will have a bet. It looks wrong. And it's a derby. And I've always said that. I mean, I go back to Super Rugby days. You give me 3.5, I was always back in the plus team. I made money on it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. It's really, I didn't keep records, but it's just that feeling you have. Plus 7.5 seems too big here.
So the boys are aligned on that one. There is another game though on Friday night, and I guess often on Friday night you've got to pick which game you really want to get involved in. Gavin, I'll start with you. Your Leinster -9.5 up against Ulster, and we've got a points line here of 49.5. I'll bring up the teams now as well, but quickly check in the weather forecast for what it's worth. I say that because these things change so quickly. But it's also cold, overcast, shouldn't rain, and humidity not too bad there, right? So we've got a 49.5 line. What are you doing here, Oracle?
I'm not doing anything, but what I will say is that the Leinster, going back to our conversation on the 0.67 or 7-10 to win the tournament, I'm just pure numbers. This 9 will be too high. They priced out, overpriced. The value's with Ulster, but you have to be confident that it's the right team on the right day to back them. I don't know much about this fixture. I'm not going to get involved, but I can tell you from Crusaders, New Zealand, we've seen it all over the place. When I see the team that's 7-10 to win the tournament at -9, I'm already thinking 6-7, -6, -7, -8 maybe, but -9 too high. If I look at the previous results, 41-17, 27-20, 40. I mean, they've beaten this handicap a couple of times, and you'd have to go back a couple of years before it was a close game. I don't know. It's one of these games I'll watch a little bit, but unlikely to punt on it.
Well, let's go down to the Admiral now, because, of course, he is in Dublin, so might even be going to this game now that exams are finished. Admiral, what do you make of this one? What's the mood in the Leinster camp at the moment?
Yeah, I will be there. We are. I say we. Leinster. We're really bad. I think. It's the middle of December now. Like, we are well into the season, and there's not been a good performance yet. Like, really, every single game, like, they've struggled. Like, battered by Munster, struggled against the Dragons. I mean, the Dragons, like, battered in South Africa twice. Like last week against Leicester, like, that was a second string Leicester team who, they were they losing at 60 minutes, I think. Harlequins sent over a second string team to play the guts of the Irish team, and they really struggled. Like, they've been really bad all year. I think the reason that this is 9.5 is that it's the names, and like Kevin was reading out the past fixtures there. Ulster were a worse team 2 years ago, and Leinster were a better team 2 years ago, but they're getting closer now. I mean, this opened at 15. I have 13.5, but I still think this 9 is value. I mean, the Ulster starting 15 is really good. I mean, there's some names that, a lot of people recognize there. Angus Bell, the Australian prop. Augustus, the South African number 8, has been huge for them. And then they have a couple players back from injury. Jude Postlethwaite, very good outside centre. Plusky, I think, was injured for a bit as well. Yeah, the starting 15 is really good. The bench is the only sort of problem with Ulster here. It's a really bad bench, to be honest. And then you look at the Leinster bench, and immediately Sheehan and Furlong jump out at you. But then there's a couple, the two McCarthy brothers, really good players. Fintan Gunn's a good youngster half, and then Max Deegan, Harry Byrne, Irish internationals. It's a really, really strong bench, and that will be the one thing that will sort of make you worry. I think Ulster can win this game. It really wouldn't be a surprise to me if Ulster win this. Like, if you're looking at how these two teams have been playing, Ulster, I think, are the surprise package this year. The Stormers and them are the two sort of big overperformers so far this year. They've been really good, Ulster. And then the points, this is one of the unders games for me, I think. Leinster are an unders team because they defend well and they hold the ball and they don't do anything with it. I mean, they had the ball for the whole of the first half against Leicester last week, all the territory, all the ball, and they scored 6 points. I think they'll probably break 6 points this week. But I imagine Leinster this will be a bit of an arm wrestle, a tight game, and then the strong Leinster defence and bad Leinster attack will drag this into a bit of an unders. Plus and unders for me. And if you're an Ulster fan, I mean, take the money line. I think you've every chance of winning it.
Right. Gav, you want to add a bit, yeah?
Yeah, so I analyze people as well as numbers. And I'm going to tell you what you just witnessed over the last 2 minutes is a guy who's telling you Ulster winning this game. You've changed my opinion on this game, Admiral. I'm now punting Ulster on the board. I'm not even going to take the handicap. I agree with you. You've just cemented everything I was thinking about, but I didn't have, and I am a very confident person. I just didn't have the confidence to go into this because I haven't looked at it that much, and I don't know that much about both of these teams. I'm obviously concentrating on South African rugby, but yeah, my gosh, you're right. And Brent, you and I have said this as well. How is this team starting at big minuses and starting at tournament winners at 7-10? When they've had the worst start in Admiral, I know you're nodding your head, but you probably know. I'm going to say 10 years, 12 years. This has got to be their worst start in a long time.
Yeah.
So this is the time to make money on this. The algorithms haven't caught up to the humans. The humans can see that there's a problem here. And yeah, I'm involved now. I'm on the board here. I'll stay on the board happily. Not a lot of money, but I'm going to have enough to sit me on the couch and keep me awake for the entire game. And yeah, I'm interested.
I'm just quickly looking. Stefan come with an interesting play. They Ulster half-time and Leinster full-time. And I mean, that is a stacked, as Admiral said, that's a stacked Leinster bench there. I just want to see if I can get a price on that. I'm not sure.
I think that's probably a good price.
Anyway, you should get probably somewhere around 6-7 to 1 on that, I would imagine. Gav, just as a matter of interest, just over 3 to 1 Ulster on the board.
That's enough, because this double, what you're talking about, Ulster-Leinster, is probably 6 to 1. Now, imagine you get the first part right. And the first half is so much where they're winning by 10, 12, where it's difficult to win from there. I'm not talking about 2 or 3 or 4 points or less than a try. I'm not a big half-time, full-time putter. I've had a few in the past. I'm not going to claim to be up on them. I can't even remember. There've been so few of them. It just doesn't catch my eye because it's just spinning that wheel on the roulette table.
It's a speculative. It's a speculative play, Gab. I agree with you. It's a sort of play.
I think there's people out there with enough knowledge to make money out of that. Not me.
Yeah. You know what? For me, it's a sort of thing like you don't really fancy anything in the game, but you kind of want to watch it with a bit of an interest and maybe have a view that you want to get involved at halftime, and then if your bet's running still, maybe you don't have to or whatever. But I agree with you there, and just you spot on price wise. I'm just having a look around here about 6 to 1. But Stefan, I also like the strategy because I do agree with Gavin. It's probably not the best bet in terms of your betting value, but can give you a nice interest in the game there. Anything before we move on, Admiral?
Yeah, I might just almost. This is more of a grievance as a point of grievance as a Leinster fan, but like the team, like the first couple of games of the year, the team was all messed up because half of them are on the way with the Lions and they need the extra. They have to get their holidays or whatever. And then they came back in. They played one game against Munster, got their asses kicked. Then they went in Darling camp, and so they were gone for another month. And so now they've only. Ninaber and some of them have been saying it like we've barely seen each other since May, and so you just what looks like the main problem at the moment is that they haven't spent time together. Like there was the final pass is nearly there sometimes, and just there's a bit of sharpness or a bit of lack of cohesion or something like that, and they're missing it. And so what have they done for this game? They've chopped and changed half the team. I don't understand it, to be honest. Like we're resting players here in a game that we might lose that we really have to win. I don't understand that at all, to be honest.
Maybe they don't think they're going to lose.
They can play. They might not, but they should be able to play 3 or 4 weeks in a row. Like they're athletes; it's their job.
Admiral, I think it's something that it's probably whether it's a criticism or not of Leinster, I don't know, but it's something that's cost Leinster in the past. Resting for semi-finals and then coming away empty-handed in the season, and instead of sort of maybe just going for it. And it is something. I mean, I do appreciate the workload on players, but some of the players, like a guy like James Lowe, I see he's in the team, but that guy's got an incredibly light workload compared to some of the other players around the world. A guy like DuPont, when he's fully fit, if you're playing in that top 14, they're not interested in resting you unless maybe it's for a competition they're not interested in. They play you every week there.
Yeah, and they're not made of glass like these guys. They're very fit, they're very strong. But I think the whole world seems to see that it's been a problem for Leinster apart from Leinster. But anyway.
Well, as many women say when they've been with the Oracle, they don't make them like they used to. But we'll leave it at that for now.
Yes,
and brilliant.
100%.
Right, let's stay with the Admiral for the next game. We got the Stormers, 6 out of 6 in the URC, 2 out of 2 in the Champions Cup. They've been absolutely on fire, although they scored 1 try too few for me last week. They started off so quickly against La Rochelle and went to sleep. I'm having one of those runs where I just can't get over the line. It's been leaking quite badly. 13.5 points here, Admiral, the handicap. Unfortunately, don't have any points lines, but the weather in Cape Town looks pretty damn good. Maybe just a bit of wind about on Saturday.
Yeah. 6 out of 6, 2 out of 2, and the Lions are like 0 out of 6 and 0 out of 5 or whatever. They're useless. I didn't watch them last week because I can't bring myself to watch Lions Newcastle. That's too much. But I gather they were bad. I think I saw they scored 1 try and it was a sort of an intercept or something or a breakaway.
They actually, to me, and I'm also didn't watch
they
the whole
butchered
game.
chances.
They butchered. That's exactly where you are. They had opportunities to put that game away, and from what I can gather, and also I think I was watching another game. I can't remember what it was, but they had every opportunity to put that game away, and they failed to do that. And and there was something about it. I don't know. There was something even about the coverage that was like second tier. It was, the camera angles and that. It just wasn't a very good one.
Second tier in Newcastle looks a bit amateur. But yeah, I mean,
exactly.
Like the Stormers aren't going to give you that many chances. I mean, it wasn't a full Lions team, but it was the guts of a Lions team, I think, there. So they've had to travel back and forth. I mean, the Stormers. My problem with the reason I'm not sort of like mad on this was just how sort of they were a bit sloppy the last week. Stormers. I mean, like they could have won. If they were sort of switched on, they should have kicked on and won that by 30 or 40. Like the La Rochelle, like they were talented and they were up for it, but they were only. I mean, they were my age essentially, the whole team. Like they were like 21 or 20 years old, and they were just there was a bit of sloppiness, a bit of like we've won this game, we're gonna have a bit of fun now. But yeah, no, I mean, I was going to say I don't know anyone who'd be on the Lions Plus. I have a feeling I might know one person. But
we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. But yeah, I think I'm going to be on the Stormers, or I'm going to wait for maybe a points line, because the Lions can score, in fairness to them, especially in good conditions, and they can't defend. So yeah, I wouldn't, if I get sort of maybe a mid-50s points line, I'd have a look at Stormers points or totals points. But yeah, it'll be some sort of play on Stormers, I think.
Right, we're going to go up to Oracle, and I actually think Oracle in past seasons would definitely been maybe on the Lions here, but I've got a feeling he's going to say, no, the Lions aren't ready for this game, go for the Stormers. Oracle, what you going to tell us?
Listen, the Admiral's 100% right with regards to the Stormers. They were sloppy. I mean, you lost your bet. I lost my bet. And Chris, all three of us won different bets. You had tries. I had the handicap, and he had Stormers points, and none of us won.
And we all needed one more try. One more Stormers try would have seen all of us home, eh?
And a try a go, in other words, their second last try, they were throwing the ball around like they'd won the game. And I didn't like that kind of behavior, and I've seen it before. And I'm going to tell you, I can't remember, and I know you're probably going to laugh at me here, but I can't remember the exact number handicaps that the Stormers have had against the Lions at home. And I was at the game 2 games ago. I wasn't at the December game. I was at the June game last year. I hear the Admiral, they butchered a lot of stuff, but you know what? They beat the handicap against Newcastle. They lost by 4. They could have won the game. But at the same time, Stormers could have won that game 16-0. And, they didn't. And I think that the results, if you had a bet if you'd had a bet on Newcastle minus, and you'd had a bet on Stormers minus, you would be more upset with the Stormers than you would about Newcastle. The Stormers were poor. And then they shake each other's hands and they're half-fiving at the end. And Brent, I've got to tell you, you put me in a dressing room, change room, whatever you want to call it, with any of these teams, I want to tell them the first thing you do before you walk on the field is go and look at what your expected win is, or your expected loss at the bookmakers, because that's what you got to play. If the bookmakers,
can you imagine the coach actually giving that advice?
I hear you.
I know what you mean.
25 years. I'm going, if the bookmakers say you should win this game by 28 and you win by 21, I'm sorry. You don't high-five each other. You don't fist bump each other. You go home and cry for an hour, drink water for 4 hours before you're allowed to have a beer. You've got to have some sort of punishment. You've got to go. I mean, Brent, we can go back to, and I love this story because Nick Mallet, in charge of Italy, plus 24 handicap, Dunedin, I think it was, I can't remember the stadium in New Zealand, they lost by 14. The Italians were the ones high-fiving and fist-pumping and jumping up and down as if they'd won the World Cup, because they must have had a punt on themselves at plus 14.5, beat it by 10. They were the winners. New Zealand won the game by 14. They walked off dejected. And I remember telling everybody in the office, that's how you behave. You lost. You lost by 10. Go home, cry, and come back another day. And I'm going to tell you 13.5 is just a tad little too high. I'm not climbing into the lines here. I'm not even pressing the button yet, but I do feel that the Stormers' lack of interest last week and we've won this game, we smashed them, whatever, and they didn't smash them. They were poor. They let them score 3 tries. They were absolutely poor, chucking the ball around like they were at a kid's party, showing off. I didn't like the Stormers' behavior last week. I've got no interest in punting the Stormers this week. And if they carry on behaving like they did last week, they're in for a bit of a surprise because the Lions will come at them. And I think this will be a little bit closer than 13, but I'm not ready to stick a lot of money on it. I just have a feeling.
Reed suggesting that the players don't look at the handicap, and I mean, I think if I was a player now, I probably would look at the handicap out of curiosity. But yeah,
They
obviously,
should.
maybe New Zealand will maybe the Stormers will high-fiving because they were on the La Rochelle cap using that logic. But no, we'll certainly assume none of the players punt. But let's.
They don't have to punt, Brent, but I'm pretty sure they know their number. They must know their number. Yeah. Otherwise, they'd be complete morons, and I don't believe they are.
Okay. Anything else on that game, Admiral, before we move on?
It's pretty hard to follow. That was pretty good. No, not. Just the one point. Sorry, this is a boring point, but I took the Stormers to win the competition about 2 weeks ago. But that's much more boring.
I think that's a great bet. It will take them 2 weeks to come right, and they will win. I agree with you. I think they're a great punt. They're a great price, and it's all because of Leinster's short price. One day in the next 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, the bookmakers will work out, hang on, nobody's punting Leinster at these ridiculous prices. Maybe we should push them out and bring in the teams that can actually win. I agree with you. I think the Stormers are a great punt to win this tournament. Huge value. We haven't seen value like this. I mean, Brent, we spoke about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Favourites in Super Rugby never went to numbers like this halfway in the season. Never happened.
Now, if I had money, I definitely would have taken. I think they were about 6.5 to 1. Is that kind of the price you got, Admiral, a couple of weeks back?
Yeah, I'm trying. I think it could even be more than a couple of weeks. It might actually been during the international stuff. Yeah. And I think it was. I'll tell. I think it was 7 to 1. I'll double check now.
No, look, it's actually. I mean, I was actually going to do a little video. I was going to do a video on it after the last round of URC matches. The Stormers were still 6.5 to 1. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I was going to do a video on it, but then I see Bet Exchange. When I actually woke up to doing it, I see that shortened to 4 to 1 at Bet Exchange, which sounds a little bit more accurate. Although I don't know what else is around there. Yeah. But yeah, agree. Sorry.
8 to 1.
8 to 1. Wow, what a great price. Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, they got a lot of home games. I mean, they've shown they can win on the road. And I mean, you won home advantage going into those playoffs, no doubt about it.
I think they're 11 points ahead of Leinster, who are realistically will probably finish second. I mean, Glasgow Bulls will have something to say about that, but 11 points ahead is, it's 3 games. Like they have to lose 3 games that Leinster win. That's a lot. There's not that many games. It's not that long of a season. And we're nearly halfway through it.
I'm just reading this. I think the names are, but Gavin seems like the Oracle's cool uncle. I think it's he is the Oracle, but he could be the Admiral's cool uncle. There's a good chemistry between the two. Right, Gavin, take us away, mate. Benetton minus 10.5 against Zebra in the Italian derby.
You'd have to really dig deep to see. Like this also when you see double digits in a home or a derby, it feels wrong. But in this case, it's not wrong. I'm going to tell you the minus is the right way to go here. Again, not a massive punt, but there's enough for me that Benetton are more than 10 points better than Zebra. This could be a 20-point game. I'm not suggesting it's a 30 or 40-point game, but I do think they'll beat this handicap, and I am interested in the minus here. It looks too big, but it's not too big.
Fareed saying he's all over Benetton. What has the Admiral got to say?
Yeah, I like Benetton too. I'm kind of a Zebra fan, but exclusively for home games. They really get themselves up. And the next game is the reverse fixture. So Zebra at home, which Zebra will target, and I think they'll probably have a good chance to win. I mean, the teams have to be announced. I imagine Benetton will be full. I wouldn't mind if Zebra wanted to rest a couple. And the one little, I mean, I never know how much these things actually matter, but it's Thomas Alberno's the out half. It's his last game. Funny enough, he's going to Toulon mid-season, which is a little bit weird. I think they're getting Garbisi back they're doing a swap deal mid-season. All very weird. But so this is his last home game for the club. If that makes any difference, I don't think it really does. But if you're into that stuff, sure. But yeah, I'm not hugely confident, but yeah, minus, and then plus next week for Zebre at home, I think.
Nemo's on top form today, guys. With the Darts World Championship being on, if you three had to pick a nickname, what would it be? Brent the Bulldog Graham. I like that one, the Bulldog, eh? And I'm very pleased the darts are. I think they only start here in South Africa. Well, they would have started now, the 15th, I believe the darts has been covered. So certainly do enjoy that. Before we move on to the next game, quickly, Admiral, do you bet on the darts at all? I quite enjoy it, but I don't really punt it.
Yeah, to be honest, it's actually the sign for me every year that my exams are over that I get to sit down and watch like a plumber play a fireman in darts. It's brilliant. Yeah, I really enjoy. I like the World Championships. But like, so I think it's been on the first couple. I mean, the first couple of days. I saw a Kenyan fella actually. He won today against De Decker, who was one of the ranked players. I mean, I didn't even know they played darts in Kenya, but there you are. That's fun stuff at the World Championship. But yeah, I'll definitely be having a couple punts on electricians to have the most 180s or whatever it is. It's good crack, that.
Yeah, it's great, and the atmosphere is tops as well. Right, let's stick with you though. Glasgow Warriors -9.5 against Edinburgh. Scottish rugby going pretty well at the moment, although Edinburgh with their weakened team took a bit of a clap last week. But Warriors -9.5 here in the derby.
Yeah, I was on Glasgow last week on a +7, and at halftime I was a little bit. I hadn't lost hope. I think there was a bit of win.
It was 21-0. They were 21-0 down, I believe. I didn't watch it at all.
And
wow, and they won.
It was brilliant. I saw 45 to half time, and I think someone said there was 80 to 1 somewhere.
Wow.
Someone might come in and fact check me there. But yeah, it was I think maybe the game of the year, the best game I've seen in club rugby this year anyway. Toulouse really, they battled in the first half, and then it came from nowhere. I mean, Glasgow barely had the ball in the Toulouse half in the first half, and then the second half, Toulouse barely had the ball in the Glasgow half. It was the game where, like, if you're sitting at the wrong end of the stadium, you saw absolutely nothing for the whole game, and if you're at the right end, you saw the whole match. But yeah, brilliant game. Glasgow were great. This week, it's actually not in Scotstoun, the usual Glasgow Stadium. It's in Hampden Park, which is the soccer stadium. But the handicap, I would lean Glasgow here. But what I do like is the points. Now, it's not out yet, but I think you're going to get 47, 48, 49. I had a look through this. The last time this game in home or away hit 50 points was 2014. So over a decade ago. So, I mean, if you get 50, take that. But I think you'll probably get mid to high 40s. And I like that this and Leinster, the two strongest unders plays for me this week. So yeah, the handicap, I'd lean Glasgow, but I prefer the unders, assuming we get between 46 and 49.
Yeah. Somewhere over the mid 40s there, Gav.
First question: why are they playing in a soccer stadium? Do you know?
It's just bigger. Scotstoun Scotstoun's not that big. I don't know, maybe 10,000, but Hampden Park is it's maybe 60,000, and they won't sell that out. But like they'll make more money is the answer.
They'll get like 30,000 probably or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a minus punter here. I know I'm going against what I said at the start of the show, but these two derbies minuses just seem the right way to go. So yeah, I'm a Glasgow minus punter. Happy.
Right.
Not a lot, but feels right.
Nemo Cohen making the point Edinburgh did rest a few players last week, so I guess we can expect maybe for both. I'm assuming these guys also play again, Admiral, afterwards as well.
Yeah.
So
the reverse fixture, yes.
In Murrayfield next week.
Right, okay, that's going to be a good one to keep an eye on there as well. Let's stick now with the Oracle. We already know. Right? Sorry?
Edinburgh, the Murrayfield. That's bigger than Hampden Park, obviously.
Yeah, is it bigger than Hampden Park?
It's similar. I don't know. I think Murrayfield's 70. I'm not exactly sure.
Hampden Park's football. I mean, they get big crowds obviously there.
Yeah.
But Oracle, We know that you've got a fancy on this game already, but we don't know what it is. We've got the Hollywood Bet Sharks here, -0.5 point against the Vodacom Bulls. Tell us what you're doing here, Oracle.
I need to give you a backstory first. So I interviewed this guy for a job. This is in the mid-2000s. So I had 3 questions. The first one was, whatever soccer game was on that night, I'd say, give me a price of the 3 teams. Chelsea's playing United. And then I'd pull money out of my wallet. This is in the interview. I'm interviewing the guy for a job. Put the money on the table. I'd give me 3-1, all 3 teams. So, put my $10. And he'd say, oh, hang on. And I say, hold on. You know, if you can't pull money out your wallet and you're interviewing for a trading job, I can't have you here. You've got to understand risk. That was one of them. Next question I'd say to people is, you enjoy cricket? And they say, yeah, cricket's right. All right. Bangladesh are playing Zimbabwe, a 5-day game. I'm going to need you to do the full 5-day shift. And then you look at them and you know straight away. And if you can't handle Bangladesh versus Zimbabwe for 5 days, you can't do this job. But my third one was the best. You believe in luck? That was it. Simple question. And I could say no. So you can't work for me. Sorry. You have to. Now, that guy eventually got hired by somebody else in the business, gave him a job. So we're sitting there, Australia playing South Africa, Tri-Nations. The bet type is first points. And Australia get a penalty right in front of the poles. So I tell Ike, and if he's watching, he knows who he is, put the result in, Australia first. Yes, correct. First points, put the result in, Australia first points. And I see him waiting with his mouse. He hasn't pushed the button. He waits for the kick to go over. And I say to him, why didn't you put the result in? I know he's waiting for the kick. I said, then you do believe in luck. Anyway, the reason for the story is, if you don't believe in luck, you need to watch the Sharks game last week. Because my gosh, every single thing that could have happened in favor of the Sharks happened. And I'm not joking. How that team won that game, I have absolutely no idea. But in saying that, the Bulls were such rubbish that I'm going to tell you that there's a digit missing here. The Sharks are going to cream. As bad as the Sharks are, they are going to murder this Bulls team. And when I say murder, that's like 12, 15, 18 points. And if you're lucky, more than 20. I'm 100% on the Sharks here, and I'm having a proper go. And if I get it wrong, I get it wrong. But I think I've read this right. The Sharks, although they were lucky, very, very lucky last week, the Bulls are their level of worseness or their level of badness is so far below the level of Sharks' luckiness. And I'm sorry, I saw enough. Bulls are in massive trouble in this game. I don't know what's going on there, but this Sharks team should cream them up. Minus all the way. And don't just take the 9-10. Go and take a 2-1, 3-1 minus. There's value there. Well, I'm all over it.
I actually was on the Sharks last week, and I must say, they did have their luck, and also they only but made me sweat at the end of the game where there was like they were defending. Thank goodness they went up on the defensive line out and managed to win that game, because it was just one of those things I could see them losing in the final minute. Admiral, what do you make of this one? Or what did you do in the Sharks game last week?
Nothing. There was no chance I was getting involved in that. That sounded like the Wolf of Wall Street. That was like selling me this pen. That was brilliant. The Shark was just. I'm not sure I get a job at Oracle Bookmakers. I think I like the Bulls here, not with any confidence, because they're both shite. Oh, sorry, they're both bad.
No. I used to call this rubbish versus rubbish, and this is exactly what it is. But the one rubbish bin looks little bit better than the other one. That's all.
They're like I think Freed said there the Sharks can defend, the Bulls can't. I think the Bulls can't defend. I think it's generous to say the Sharks can. The one thing with the Bulls last week is they did leave, half the team at home. Well, not half the team, but they left some of the team at home. And the good bit of the team, essentially. The Bulls are still a better team in my mind than the Sharks. Like, not that much has changed. The Sharks are still, they mightn't have Plumtree at the helm anymore, but it's still the same Muppets running around, and they're missing sort of their. I would say they're good players, but they are good players. But when they put a Sharks jersey on, they look like under 17s. But they're missing like Oxen Shea. Obviously, Atzabet's not there, and I forget who else is it. Maybe Vincent Koch, or anyway, they're missing a couple of their Springboks. The Bulls should be full strength. Yeah, I'm not confident as well, as you can tell, but I maybe lean on the Bulls a little bit here. But it's one of those games where I'll kick myself when the Sharks end up winning by 20 and Gav has got his 4-1 or whatever.
Next week, Brett. I want to watch him kick himself.
We have to put a special show together. I just enjoyed this one. I could be the one interviewing Oracle for a job, and he'd end up taking my job and sacking me. What do you think of that one, Gav?
Well, I will tell you, in many jobs I've had people so worried, and I've had to sit them down and say, don't worry, I'm actually not taking your job. Like, I've had to tell people that in the past. It's not something I've said once or twice. I've said this multiple times. I'm so scared when I walk into the office and I tell people and I come up with ideas, and they literally shit themselves. And I go, listen, Brew, it's okay. I don't want your job. You're safe. You're okay. So yes, again, people are watching that know me and have worked with me in the past. I don't want your job. They hired me for this. I came up with that. I don't want your job.
No, I mean, it's very similar, Gav. You weren't on the show for a while, and people assumed you were taking a break. But I was just too scared to have you on in case you took over as presenter. So the following week was only when you assured me that you weren't.
But I don't want your job, Brett.
Brilliant.
You do a great job.
We're having some good laughs.
That's why you earn the big bucks.
That's why I earn the big bucks. Magic. Right, 2 games left. Oracle, I'm going to start with you. It's not a derby. It's Ospreys plus 5.5 at home to Munster.
Minus again. Not confident, but I like Munster. I think they've started well. I know they lost against the Stormers. I did like that Stormers win there. Yeah, I think that they've got a crack at this. It's a win they can get, and at 5.15 at 10.6, I wouldn't even take the plus. Sorry, minus. Sorry, I would again go for a minus 10 or minus 9, a little bit of a price there instead of the 9 to 10. But I think, I expect them to win. Happy, like them. They're doing well. Nothing. I don't have anything. Don't have any. What's the word? Worries about their commitment or the way they're playing. I'm happy. I've done well on Munster. I'll carry on following them. Minus, happy.
Minus on Munster there for Oracle. Stefan saying Oracle, if they tell Oracle they're meeting with other candidates, he'll tell them they've got the wrong favourite. Yeah, I enjoyed that one as well. Quick question for you, Admiral. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but it's quite interesting that on a derby sort of weekend.
Yeah.
You've got
you have these crossovers, yeah.
Yeah, you got these, and it's like you could have Ospreys against Dragons and Munster against Connacht. Any reason why these are not derbies?
As far as I know, it's because the Welsh teams like to do. They call it Boxing Day. We call it Stephen's Day. They like to play on the 26th of December, and then they also play on New Year's Day, I think, is what happens. Okay. So there'll be Welsh derbies next week, and then the week after that, they'll play each other on New Year's Day. And so I think that's why. I might be wrong.
That's interesting, Brett. We could also do that. Are you really going to be upset if you see the Bulls Sharks on Boxing Day and Sharks Bulls on New Year's Day? They'll play. Why not? Of course they will. Why don't we? Yeah, I think what Admiral said is right. Why don't we get a universal derby day together? I think it's great. I think it's I saw it initially, and I saw what you saw straight away. A couple of the teams not playing each other, which is odd. But I would do that.
Yeah, I think only the players that have a problem with it having to play on New Year's Day. And
but then don't join the team. Then go sit in the pub and watch your mates play. I mean, if you want to join the team, listen. The NBA and NFL guys play on these New Year's Eves and whatever. I mean, it's a job. I was a waiter. I was a barman. I worked on New Year's Eve and Christmas Day. That's what you do. You don't want the money. Sit at home with your family. It's your choice. You don't have to play.
Words of wisdom there from the Oracle. And then, okay, so Admiral, I asked you that other question, but I didn't actually ask you what do you fancy on this game, if anything?
Not much. Munster have named their team. They've started doing that. They named their team a day early. I don't know why, but well, I mean, it's handy for us.
Because Rusty used to be there, and they learned from him.
And then also they have the Super Rugby coach, the Clayton McMillan coached the Chiefs last year, and Super Rugby did their teams earlier. I assume that's it. Like as a punter, I'm happy enough to see it, but I don't understand why teams do it. Like I'm sure, I know they have to name the team, but surely it's in the team's interest to not to leave it as late as possible. But anyway, I mean, I'm not complaining as a punter. They're missing Tygburn, which is the main thing. But it's not a game I have a lot of fancy on.
Nemo, before we go to the last game, he's saying, what Super Rugby jersey should you buy your son? For me, there's one, the Chiefs. I'd definitely go Chiefs there. The old days, I used to be Blues, but I'd be Chiefs. Anything there, Oracle? Any advice for him on a shirt?
You can still buy a Lions Super Rugby jersey. You just got to go to West Park in a couple of Mr. Price sports shops. You might find one. They're still available.
Well, the Cats. Remember those days?
Yes.
Right. I know Admiral doesn't remember the days the Cats played because I'm not actually sure that he was born when the Cats played Super Rugby. But
no, I've heard of them, but I think I might have been 2 or 3. I think.
Possibly. Right, Admiral, last game, Dragons plus 5.5 against Connacht.
Yeah, I have a bit of a soft spot for the Dragons at home, a bit like Zebre, but 5 is a little bit skinny. If we've talked about it before, if we give me that's 6 or 7, preferably the 7. I'd like the Dragons, and so I'm sort of almost hoping that Connacht will name their full team, so that we'll see Bundyaki and Mark Hansen if he's not injured. We'll see a full Irish or the Irish internationals out for Connacht, and then maybe I'll get 7.5 because I like the Dragons for that. Connacht aren't a team who I'm ever hugely confident on away from home, even if they're playing well. It's just that they're a bit flaky. 5.5. I don't think I'd be involved, but point or 2 more, I'd take the Dragons.
Right, so hoping for a little bit of a bigger line on the Dragons there, and Oracle finishes off for the URC.
Yeah, so I'm going to say I agree with the Admiral here. However, the way I would tackle this agreement is I would, take a lower stake on them to win on the board. And that's what I'll probably do here. If they lose by 2 or 3, I've lost my bet. I'm happy. I mean, I'm not happy, but I'm okay with it. But at 5.5 again, you're getting 16-10, 15-10, 16-10, 17-10. I'm happy. That's good enough for me. So small punt, Dragons on the board is good enough. I just want to say one thing. So you talk about the teams being announced. Now, that's something that's never bothered me. Never been interested in it. But what I do like, and I think that if it is something that not necessarily punters, but the public like, why don't they do what they do in the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup, where they literally hand an envelope to the guy to read out, so you can't change it. Here's my team. Here it is. Read it out together. I think that's something that could work with rugby. Is you get a referee. Yeah, the referee on the day can read it up, put it on the board. People can see it. Why announce a team on Tuesday and another one on Thursday night? There must be some sort of cutoff to announcing them. But then I have a follow-up question. What happens if you announce your 23 and you made 7 changes by the time Saturday afternoon kickoff comes? Are you in trouble? Are you allowed to do that? That's always been up in the air for me, and that's why I've never really worried too much about it, because I've seen changes made, and I don't think there's too much legislation or ruling about it, and it's almost like they can, call it whenever they want to. I don't know. I mean, soccer, football, they announce a team 2 minutes before the game, which is crazy.
Yeah. I agree with you, though. Admiral, I think I speak on behalf of all punters when I say please don't let them announce teams just before the game. From a punting. I know Gavin doesn't mind, but the rest of us punters, we definitely want to see the teams. But it's interesting you ask. I know that in the past it has happened, and these days, normally if the squad changes, it's normally an injury. And I know there's a lot of skepticism about Russie's selections, for example, for the box, where on the Friday there'll be the injury, and I'm not saying they're not genuine, but I know a lot of the guys in Ireland and the rest of the world have their doubts.
You remember that English game where the guy stuck the blood sachet in his mouth to get off so the kicker could come back on? And the doctor actually went to jail, or he went to court. I can't remember what it was, but he's like, so try anything to change it so that their secret is not known for longer.
No, fair enough. Nebo Kerwin coming in there says he wouldn't want the referees to read out the teams. He hears enough of them on the field already, and that's also a fair point there. Let's ask the Admiral now. What else you like this weekend, Admiral? In terms of like Premiership, or let's stick with rugby for now. In terms of the Premiership, I was just bringing up the betting here. I see we got 5 games on this weekend. Anything stand out for you?
The only one we have teams for us tomorrow, it's Leicester Gloucester, and I don't think I'm going to take anything there. I'm mostly going to say I'm waiting for teams there. The one that I do think I like is Exeter, or +9 or 10 against Saracens. I think I like that, but there's nothing. I'd say so Exeter, and then maybe Newcastle if Bath sort of. I wouldn't be surprised if Bath rotated the whole team. They played the full team last week in Toulon. I forget who they're playing next week, but it's a bigger game next week. Like they'll beat Newcastle. So I think it's 18. So yeah, maybe Exeter, maybe Newcastle, and it could all change if the teams are a bit, I don't know, unexpected. But no, nothing to be putting the granny's pension on yet.
And I wish I'd spoken to you last week before I got my money down on Bath, because you were spot on with Toulon, and I must tell you that I had a big double ending on that, and we won't harp on it, but was there a +9 or something? Was that try at the end? I think killed that Toulon try at the end killed a lot of people. No,
I think
it would have killed a lot. Me, I was actually on the board on Bath on the board. So I was already, my fate was gone. I think by that time, but it was just one of those things. Is Admiral still betting on the Dogs? It was great chatting to him about Dogs. Did you bet on the Greyhounds?
No, I know that I know Nemo Kerwin. That's not his real name. No, I don't bet on Greyhounds.
Okay, 100%. And anything else on the weekend? As Gavin said, any other sport that was it just pure rugby for you this weekend?
Yeah. So my question, Admiral, is I'm an 80 to 85% rugby punter. The other 15-20% is on other stuff. What is your 15% or your 20% or 10%, whatever the number is? What else do you get involved in? Where you do okay with or make money with?
I'm probably pretty much only rugby. In terms of watching, I watch a lot. I watch a lot of other sports. I just don't really bet on them, to be honest. It's just because I know I have a bit of an edge in rugby, and I just don't in other sports. I like watching American football. There's not a chance I'd make money out of that. Like watching soccer. I'm a Chelsea fan, actually. I used to live in that part of the world. But I'm not gonna be sharper than the bookies in the Premier League. So I watch a lot of golf, watch a lot of soccer, a bit of American football. Then whatever else is on, tennis, even a bit of cricket sometimes. I'm one of the few cricket fans in Ireland. But no, there'll be no. I tend not to bet. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the 5% will be golf. I'd say the majors, and that is usually just Rory and Shane, which isn't particularly profitable.
Patriotic punting. And you, Brent? I mean, you obviously rugby.
Before I answer that, I just want to say, listening to the Admiral talk about all the sports he watches, but he only bets on rugby. There's an old head on those young shoulders, and
absolutely,
like
I find it difficult. I find it difficult to watch.
20 years to learn.
Sorry.
Eh?
Yeah, I find it difficult to watch something without having money on it.
Yeah,
I do.
No, that took me an hour. And I'm also mainly I'm like 85% rugby, and this, unfortunately, and I'll be booking a loss for the second time in 12 years. I've had some good years. I've had some years where I've made a small profit, but this year just hasn't gone my way. I fought all the way back, got back up to square. In the last few weeks, I've just been making wrong decisions. So it's not a really bad one. But what I almost feel is though, it has all been rugby. You've had a good track. This year's given my confidence a little bit of a kick. I think the way I've been playing, or doing something differently to the past, which hasn't really been working. But if I talk of other sports, as you know, I'm a massive cycling and Tour de France fan. So I do bet on that. But if I could tell you that on the Tour de France, for me, a big bet on the Tour de France stage is 100 or 150. And I'm usually backing a guy.
200,
you remember when you were at Boyles, I got that one guy at 130 to 1, and they wanted to close my account, and they had like $50 on it or something like that. But that's it. I major golf. I will bet on the majors.
Of course.
Sometimes, actually, at this time of year, I'll bet on, although I haven't got on this Mauritius Open, but I sometimes bet on the local golf because you start running out of things. I don't bet on cricket anymore, really. I know you're obviously a big cricketer. But so for me, golf, cycling, soccer, I gave up years ago punting. I don't even watch much of it, to be honest. I'll probably be more likely to have a bet in the AFCON, for example, than I would in the English Premier League because I'm fancy myself.
And the World Cup when it comes around, and the Euros, and the big tournaments, absolutely.
World Cups and that, then all rules are sort of off, if I can put it that way. So it's I speak your truth, saying that honest punter, much respect. Thanks. I speak your truth. I've always been one of those guys who've believed. I mean, I've never. I think it's also different if you're. I've never. How can I say? I've never been a tipster who charges, and I could never do that because I just wouldn't have the confidence, and it would like sort of. I don't know. It just wouldn't sit well with me. But for me, it's all about. It is about honesty. I know there are lots of guys out there that always make out like they win, and there are some guys that win a hell of a lot as well. But I always try and keep it as honest as possible. Anything else there, Gav, from your side?
Yeah. So for some reason, and I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, we should not be playing cricket in India at this time of the year. It's winter. Last night's game was taken away because of fog. And they went on the pitch every single time, and all they needed was one scientist or one weatherman to say, listen, you can come on here as many times as you like. It's not going to change. Call it off, send everyone home. And a mate of mine from Durban messaged me and said, why aren't they playing during the day? Seriously, why are we having day-night T20 games in India at 10 degrees when it's winter, when we could be playing in the afternoon at 2:30? There won't be any fog. There won't be any mist. They'll actually have a nice game of cricket. But we shouldn't be playing cricket in India in winter. Now, I'm going to say, yes, we've won one of 3 games, and you could have got way more than 3-1 if you'd picked your time in the game. But I'm going to punt South Africa tomorrow. I think they can win this game. It's a decent price. We're not talking about 9-10 here. We're talking about 22-10, 5-2, possibly 3-1 if you look around. I'm interested. We can win this game. And I think there's a bit of value in the price because we're playing India at home. But I've got to say the conditions are not suiting them as much as they're not suiting us because it's winter and it's cold. I mean, we don't play Australia or England during July or June in South Africa. It's great. Nobody plays cricket in South Africa in June or July. It's ridiculous. I can't believe they're doing this. It's crazy.
Just something, Gav, while we're on the topic of cricket. I see they've moved the Betway SA20 forward this year. So instead of like a Boxing Day test match, because that normally starts, I think, end of Jan or maybe the middle of Jan. So they brought it forward, obviously, to take advantage of the holiday crowds.
Yes.
But that is starting as well. So I imagine you'll be following that quite closely.
More importantly, I'm rewarding some of my customers. I'm taking some Cape Town people to the Cape Town game. I'm taking some customers to a pole game. Got my son driving us, and he's going to be the runner to get the beer and bring everything back. So pick the guys up, and that's my way of rewarding them. The women, customers that are doing quite good, I'm giving them a bottle of wine and some chocolates. So if any of them watching me, it's coming in the next week or so. I'm quite excited. I'll tell you, Brent, I went to a pole game many years ago, and I went 2 years ago with my family. It was actually my birthday 2 years ago. There's nothing better than sitting on that grass in that 32-degree sun under the tree and having a beer on a Sunday afternoon. 2 start. It's wonderful. Sun goes down at 8 o'clock. It's just one of the best venues to watch cricket in the country. And I've literally watched cricket all over South Africa, and that's one of my favorite stadiums. So yeah, yes, I've got some friends coming. I had some friends from Durban last week. We went on the wine tram, and you'll see I met with a tree. The tree's okay, don't worry. I had a few too many and turned the wrong way, and I was moving the other direction that my eyes were looking, and I whacked into a tree, and I was properly sauced up. So yeah, my wife put some first aid on me and sorted me out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Paarl with friends and with customers. And you know what, Brent? It's funny. I took over this business in February. I've actually made some friends, guys that I'll happily have at my house for a braai or for a beer. They're not just customers, and I really, it's nice. I mean, when I look at my phone, and I don't know about you, but if I look at my phone, literally everybody in that list is people I know from the betting industry. I've now met like 10. I mean, I've met lots of people, but sort of 10 oaks that are great, and they have nothing to do with betting, and it's refreshing. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to cricket. Love it. Definitely going to go and definitely punt on it.
Gav, I'm going to end. We'll give you a comment before I go to Admiral, because the one thing we are holding Admiral back from is beer, ironically, because we're going out to the pub after this.
Yeah, but Gav, it's early for him. It's only 8 o'clock.
Yep, but give me your best bet there, Gav, for the weekend.
Sharks. If you have one bet this weekend, back the Sharks.
The Sharks this weekend, and Admiral, you can.
Their luckiness will show up above the rubbishness of the Bulls right now.
And Admiral, your best play or plays for the weekend?
Probably unders tomorrow in Dublin. I'll be at it, so I prefer if it was a high scoring Leinster win. I don't think it will be. Unders in Dublin, and then I think we're going to get a good price in Hampden Park for unders, 46, 49, as I said.
Right.
Unders in the Scottish Derby, and that's it. I think. Yeah.
Are you going to the game?
Yeah, I'll be at the game. Yeah.
What does the ticket cost, if I might ask?
I have a student season ticket for Leinster, and that is €170 for 11 matches, so 15 quid per game. If you buy a match ticket, I think it's probably, I don't know, is it 30 quid, maybe €30? I'm not sure. I have no idea what that is in round, but 30, €40
times 20.
Times 20, so 600, 800 rand. Yeah, maybe someone else will chime in on that, because I don't buy tickets anymore because of the season ticket. But yeah, about that. I assume is it cheaper in South Africa? I mean, imagine it is. But how much is the game?
About a quarter.
Is a ticket to Stormers Lions?
Test matches are quite expensive here, but that's it. But anyway, guys, thanks to all the guys who joined us in the live chat for the final show of the year. We'll get going again probably mid-January. And then, of course, Oracle, to yourself, thanks for all your contributions, particularly towards the second half of the year, where you were pretty much a mainstay on the show. And Admiral, always good to have you on. Please do finish your exams and behave yourself in the pub. I'm going to leave you with these words. When you go out to the pub tonight, don't do anything the Oracle wouldn't do. We'll see you in 2026. Cheers, guys.